Good morning, everybody. I'm not going to say good Monday morning to you because what's good about Monday morning? Uh, Next week, though, that'll be different. MLK Day, if you're off on MLK Day, there'll be happy Monday, but as of now, we're all back to work after a fun weekend. Sucks. Anyway, we are going to go over the CFP game, Cotton Bowl on Friday night, go over some basketball things that happened, and we're going to preview what's coming up this week Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Before we start, hit that subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything. With that, let's get to it. Fortunately, we started off with some sad news. Former Colorado head football coach Bill McCartney passes away at 84. He was the three-time Big 8 Coach of the Year, won the 1990 National Championship at Colorado. If I remember right, they split it with Georgia Tech. That's back when the AP and the UPI used to vote, and a few times they split their votes. Happened then. It actually happened the next year too. 91, Miami and Washington, and then a few years down later, 97 happened with Nebraska and Michigan split vote. Some people say 2003 also. I think the AP voted for USC and the championship trophy. You know, the Crystal Football went to LSU. But anyway, 1990 national championship. He's the winningest coach in Colorado history. He was 93, 55, and 5. They did a really, really good 30 for 30 on him a few years back. I forget what it was called, but something of Bill or something of McCartney. I forget what it was called. Really, really good, though. So if you ever see it on the guide, watch it or record it. Very, very good. But anyway, prayers to Coach McCartney and his family and friends and former players. Legend in college football. Just a couple of days ago, there was an arrest warrant for LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacy. I'm reading he is in custody now. I've seen things they're still looking for him. Not sure. Anyway, he's wanted, or he got arrested for, whichever, possibly causing a crash that killed a 78-year-old man, and then he fled the scene. He's being charged with negligent homicide, felony hit and run, reckless operation of a vehicle. Police say he was driving recklessly, going, passing cars and all that kind of stuff at a high rate of speed. Almost hit a pickup head-on. Pickup swerved. A Kia that was behind him with the 78-year-old man, I think. He swerved to miss Lacy and hit another car head-on. And then Lacy took off, didn't stick around, nothing. So, like I said, they're either still looking for him or they arrested him. I've seen two different reports about it. But tragic, sad situation. And, another tragic thing is, the NFL, they'll still take him. I mean, they don't care. As long as there's making money in that big-ass corporation. Look at Leonard Little. Killed a woman while drunk driving. He still played. Really, really tragic, sad, stupid situation too. I mean, really, really is. Anybody driving like that. Moving on, ex-Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. I thought they were saying he was flirting with the NFL, but transfers to Miami. He's going to be the Miami Hurricanes' new quarterback, evidently. UT quarterback Quinn Ewers told ESPN he expects to enter the NFL draft, as in running back Jaden Blue and left tackle Kevin Banks. Kevin Banks was the Outland and Lombardi Trophy winner this year when they had the awards about a month ago. Former Oregon wide receiver Ryan Pelham, he's been arrested for pistol whipping a person on Christmas. Merry Christmas. Jeez. He actually entered the transfer portal on Monday with a do not contact tag. I don't know what that means. He doesn't want to listen to it from people or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, he entered the transfer portal if anybody will even take him now. Who knows? Once again, college kids acting stupid. Penn State defensive star Abdul Carter, he's going to enter the NFL draft. Also, Minnesota defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman, I remember they interviewed him when the Big Ten Network, they do their fall camp tour. I remember them interviewing him when they went to Minnesota, and he says pretty good things. Anyway, he's going to Miami. He's going to be their new defensive coordinator down there. Auburn star Johnny Brome sprained his ankle in the South Carolina game. last Saturday. He had an MRI. Surgery is not needed. He's front runner for National Player of the Year, so good thing his surgery is not needed. Maybe he can get back out there pretty soon. Notre Dame left tackle Anthony Knapp will miss the national championship game. High ankle sprain. Man, that sucks. That really does suck. And speaking of that, national championship game will be Ohio State and Notre Dame. Got all settled in the Cotton Bowl Friday night. Ohio State defeated Texas 28-14. Ohio State outscored Texas 14-7 in both halves of this game. First half, the Buckeyes did not look like the same team that throttled Oregon. I was like, halfway through the first half, I was like, this is the same team that throttled Oregon so bad in the Rose Bowl? What the hell happened? Second half came around. I guess they got talking to in the locker room. They started coming around. Will Howard, 298 passing yards, touchdown, interception. TD pass was to Travion Henderson, who had 75 yards. Quashon Junkins, only 36 rushing yards, but he did rush for 2 touchdowns in that game. And Jack Sawyer, man, what a play, what a moment for that guy. Goes after Quinn Ewers, knocks the ball out, picks it up, scoop and score. It was, an 83-yard touchdown with 2:13 left. Pretty much kind of sealed the deal there. A lot of Texas fans are talking how play calling in the red zone when Texas was in the red zone was crap. I'll admit, there's a few times I was like, what are they doing? But other than that, yeah, a lot of Texas fans are pissed off about the play calling down there in the red zone. What else we got? Ewers, he had a good night. 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. I think Arch Manning only came in once or twice, if I remember right, in that game. He'll be here all next year anyway. Both teams under 82 yards rushing. That's crazy, isn't it? But both had almost 290 in the passing game. Not too good on third down. Buckeyes 3 for 10. Longhorns 5 for 15. Ohio State was penalty happy. 9 penalties for 75 yards. Seems like every time you turn around, they were getting a flag thrown at them. A little twist of irony. Stark, he wanted a targeting call, which, okay, if you take that play versus the play in the Arizona State game, that play in the Cotton Bowl, you're like, no. But he was on the sideline, hey, targeting. Little ironic there, yelling at the referees and all that. It's like, hey, man, that's the next breaks of the game. Arizona State found that out a few weeks ago. Texas, they finished 13-3. And Ohio State goes on to the national championship game against Notre Dame. I think I've read that Ohio State's the favorite in this game so far, but we'll still see. Basketball Friday. Kent State moved to 11-4. They beat Buffalo by 19. Kent State 15 points off of turnovers. Mount St. Mary's, they moved to 10-5, beat Manhattan 75-66. That was actually a 1-point game at halftime. Wisconsin, they are 13-3. They beat 8-8 Minnesota 80-59. Wisconsin hit 11 3-pointers in that game. 9-7 Wagner, man, they beat 16-5 Central Connecticut 62-57. Sanchez for Wagner was the leading scorer with 19 points. Maryland, they are 12-4, beat number 22 11-5 UCLA 79-61. Maryland's Gillespie 27 points. He hit 4 3-pointers in that game. Saturday, some of the action, not all of it, but some of it. USC, who's 10-6, beat number 13. Illinois, who's 12-4 by 10. USC's Claude, 31 points. Illinois' Humrichus, I think that's how you say his name, 15 points. USC was 52% from the field. Illinois only 37%. Both of them had 18 points off of turnovers. Since that guy for Illinois, Jaquanius, is that how you say his name, Jaquanius? Since he's been out, Illinois, man, they've been starting off slow in their games. It's just they need him back bad. Number 4, Duke, they are 14-2. They beat Notre Dame 86-78. Flag for Duke, freshman record, 42 points. Hell of a game for him. Can't wait to see if this guy, hopefully he doesn't bolt for the NBA, but, if there's somebody that good, there's a good chance he probably might. Louisville, they're 12-5. They are 12-5, beat 12-4 Pitt, 82-78. Louisville Smith had 25 points in that game. Lowe for Pitt had 24. 9-7 LaSalle beat 14-3 St. Bonaventure by 1 in overtime. LaSalle's Jones hit the game-winning three-point shot in overtime. 10-7 Hofstra beat 12-5 UNC Wilmington by 3. 4-13 Monmouth beat 13-4 Charleston by 11. Monmouth 51% from the field. Charleston only 34%. A lot of games like this. Teams beating teams they probably shouldn't. Maybe that was the theme for this last weekend because it happened quite a bit. Number 2 Auburn, they are 15-1. They beat 10-6 South Carolina by 3. Auburn's Johnny Brome went out with an ankle injury. We talked about that. Had an MRI. He's not going to need surgery on that. UMass Lowell, they are 13-5. They beat New Jersey Tech 70-62. UMass Lowell's Somerville, 26 points. Belmont, they're 12-5. They beat Indiana State by 5. Belmont shot 52% from the field. New Mexico, they are 14-3. They beat 10-4 San Diego State, 62-48. Both of them shot under 36%. 7-10 or Cleveland State, they are 12-6. They beat Youngstown State, who's 11-7, 80-72. 8-9 Towson beat 10-7 Drexel, 93-82 in overtime. Towson's Tark, 27 points. Williams behind him, 26 points. 9-5 Cornell beat 11-3 Columbia, 94-83. Cornell led by 20 at the half and just kept on rocking. Clemson, they are 13-4. They beat 11-5 Florida State by 20. Hunter for Clemson, 25 points. Hit 5 3-pointers. Clemson as a team hit 13 3-pointers in that game. Number 1 KU, they are 12-3. Beat 10-5 Cincinnati, 54-40. 1-point game at the half. Kansas, 16 points off of turnovers in that one. 9-6 TCU beat 10-5 BYU 71-67. TCU ends its 17-game losing streak against BYU. Congratulations to them. Number 13 Iowa State, they moved to 14-1, beat 11-4 Texas Tech by 1 in overtime. Watched that one. That was a really good game. Joshua Jefferson from Iowa State, 17 points, 8 rebounds. He forced overtime with a buzzer beater layup. Then made 2 free throws with 4.1 seconds left in overtime to seal that one. Jones came off the bench, 26 points. Texas Tech's Toppin and Anderson, they had 18 points each. Iowa State, 53% from the field. Texas Tech was 42%. Texas Tech did have more rebounds and assists. Both teams had 14 turnovers. Iowa State, 19 points off of turnovers. Texas Tech, they had 15 points off of turnovers. 10-6 Temple beat 11-6 Rice by 3. Number 19 Memphis is 13-3. They beat East Carolina by 4. Memphis's Haggerty, 25 points. 8 of those points came in the final 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Winthrop, they are 12-7. Beat 13-6 Longwood, 95-76. Winthrop led by 23 at the half, kept on going. Number 9, 13-4 UConn. They beat 12-4 Georgetown by 8. UConn, 22 points off of turnovers. 8-9 Old Dominion. They beat 12-5 South Alabama, 71-63 in overtime. Old Dominion's Drew Gordon, I think. 27 points. Nice game for him. Bradley, they are 14-3. They beat UIC by 1. Missouri beat Vanderbilt, 75-66. Both of them are 13-3. Missouri didn't allow a single point in the final 2 minutes of that game. North Carolina, they're 11-6. They beat North Carolina State 63-61. Wolfpack now 9-7. Tar Heels Jalen Washington, 11 points, 12 rebounds. He made the game-winning basket that sealed the win. And made the game-winning basket, pretty much sealed it. But he also sealed it by blocking Jaden Taylor from the Wolfpack, who's going up for a shot. 7-8 UTSA beat 10-6 Wichita State, 88-75. Stanford, they're 11-5, beat Virginia, 88-65. Stanford's Maxime Raynard, 24 points, 10 rebounds, his 13th double-double. Number 8 Florida, they are 15-1. They beat 11-5 Arkansas, 71-63. Florida had 4 starters scored double-digit points. Colorado State, they are 10-6, beat 9-7 UNLV, 84-62. Colorado State, 57% from the field, and they hit 12 3-pointers in that game. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they are 11-6, beat 10-6 UT Rio Grande Valley by 5. Arkansas State, they are 12-5, beat 10-6 Troy, 84-78. Wake Forest, they are 12-4, beat Miami by 10. Miami is now 4-12. Really hurt them. Their coach left. I mean, they weren't that good when he was still there, but I think they're really hurt now since he left. Number 23, Ole Miss. They are 14-2, beat 11-5 LSU, 77-65. 3 straight losses for LSU now after starting off pretty good. Georgia, man, remember how we talked about Georgia? They're a November, December team, and then when they get to January, they start falling apart. They're 14-2. They beat number 17 Oklahoma, who's 13-3. Beat them by 10. Second straight top 25 win last week. Beat Kentucky, was it Wednesday, I think? Then they beat Oklahoma Saturday. Coming up, though, we're really going to find out if they're for real. Tennessee on Wednesday night, who's number 1. I guess they're still number 1. I don't know if they voted yet. And then Auburn, number 2 on Saturday. Who knows? Auburn might jump up to number 1 today. Who knows? So we're going to find out if Georgia really is for real or, we'll see. Anyway, they're a good team. I mean, you beat Kentucky and Oklahoma in the same week. Boy, if they could pull off wins against Tennessee and Auburn this week, man, they would be, people would talk about them for real. Speaking of Tennessee, they are 15-1. They beat Texas by 4. Texas is 11-5 now. Tennessee shot 45% from the field. Texas shot 42% from the field. Rhode Island, they are 13-3, beat Richmond by 3 in overtime. Number 12, Houston, 12-3. They beat Kansas State by 20. Houston went on 2 distinct runs in the first half of this game. One run of 16-2, and then they went on a second run, 18-3, both in the first half. Pretty cool. 12-6 Santa Clara beat 14-5 San Francisco, 77-54. San Francisco only 35% from the field. St. John's is 14-3. They beat 11-6 Villanova, 80-68. R.J. Lewis for St. John's, 30 points, 10 rebounds. Iowa, 12-4, beat 13-4 Indiana by 25. Iowa, 54% from the field. They hit 11 three-pointers in that game, and they had 24 points off of turnovers. Another one I watched, I was not happy about the outcome, but hey, number 5 Alabama, they were 14-2, beat number 10 Texas A&M, 94-88. A&M falls to 13-3. Alabama's scores, sometimes I just can't read my damn writing. Anyway, 27 points. Holloway, Youngblood, and Reed all came off the bench. You had double-digit points for the Crimson Tide. Phelps for the Aggies, 24 points, 9 rebounds. Preen, 23 points, 9 rebounds off the bench. Evidently, it was an off-the-bench game. Alabama, 40% from the field, 13 three-pointers, 68% from the free throw line. They had 8 more rebounds, 8 more assists, and 22 fast break points. A&M only shot 39% from the field, 4 three-pointers, 59% from the free throw line. They did commit 5 less fouls. But, man, there was a time in that game A&M could not buy a free throw. I mean, it was just horrible. I don't know what the hell the problem was. La Tech, they were 13-4, beat 14-3 Liberty by 5. Newman for La Tech, 27 points in that game. 6-11 Montana State, they beat 10-7 Northern Arizona by 5. That win ends Montana State's 6-game losing streak. Number 6, 13-3 Kentucky beat number 14, 14-2 Mississippi State by 5. Kentucky's Robinson, 27 points. Kentucky hit 16 three-pointers in that game. Number 18 Gonzaga, they moved to 14-4. They beat Washington State, 88-75. Cougars are 13-5. Gonzaga, Ike, 21.7 rebounds. 10-6 New Mexico State beat 12-4 Utah, 85-57. Number 25 Utah State is 16-1. They beat Boise State by 2. Boise State's now 12-5. Utah State's Martinez did it with a 4-point play with 7 seconds left. I didn't see the game, so I guess he got fouled, made the basket, and went to the line. 99 Cal Bakersfield beat 11-6 Cal State Northridge by 4. Cal Bakersfield, Jamel Jones, 45 points. Wow. Hell of a game. 11-4 Baylor beat 10-5 Arizona State, 72-66 in overtime. Baylor actually blew a 15-point lead, but came back and won it in overtime anyway. Scott Drew's probably not happy about that. Arizona State, they're 10-5. They beat, I watched a little bit of this one, then fell asleep. They beat UCF by 8. Central Florida's now 11-4. Arizona, 6-game win streak. Good for them. Good for them. Let's see what else we got. Moving on to Sunday. A few interesting ones. Purdue, number 20 Purdue's 13-4. They beat Nebraska 104-68. Nebraska's 12-4. Purdue, 63% from the field. They made 19 three-pointers in this game. God. And they had 22 points off of turnovers. Number 16, Michigan State. They moved to 14-2. They beat Northwestern by 10. Northwestern falls to 10-6. Sparty is on a 9-game win streak. 8-1 Long Island beat 11-6 Central Connecticut by 2. Rob Morris, they are 11-7, beat 9-9 Wright State by 3. Game was tied at 34 at halftime. Number 24, Michigan, they moved to 13-3. They beat Washington 91-75. Huskies fall to 10-7. Michigan, 53% from the field. They hit 11 three-pointers, 13 points off of turnovers. Number 21, West Virginia, they are 12-3. They beat 9-6 Colorado. Small for West Virginia, 26 points in that game. Number 15, Oregon, they are 15-2. They beat Penn State 82-81. Penn State falls to 12-5. All right, some interesting games upcoming tonight. 5:30 on FS1. Number 22, 11-5 UCLA versus 8-8 Rutgers. Could UCLA lose the second game in a row? We'll see. 5:30 on Big Ten Network. 8-8 Minnesota versus 12-4 Maryland. 6:30 on ESPN Plus. Nichols versus Incarnate Word. Both are 9-7. And 6:30 on ESPN Plus. Southeast Louisiana versus Stephen F. Austin. Both are 8-8, trying to break that 500 plane. All right, tomorrow night, you're going to need multiple screens, and you're going to be staying up late. So you may want to call in sick on Wednesday. Anyway, Tuesday, 5:30, FS1. 11-6 Villanova versus 10-7 Xavier. All right. 6 p.m. SEC Network. Number 14 Mississippi State, who's 14-2, versus number 2 Auburn, who's 15-1. 6 p.m. on ESPNU. Number 23 Ole Miss versus number 5 Alabama. Both of them are 14-2. 6 p.m. on ESPN2. Number 10 Texas A&M versus number 6 Kentucky. Both of them are 13-3. 6 p.m. on Peacock. Number 13, 12-4 Illinois versus 13-4 Indiana. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 10-6 St. Louis versus 12-4 VCU. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 9-6 Toledo versus 10-5 Akron. 6:30 on ESPN Plus, 10-7 Valparaiso versus 12-5 Belmont. 6:30 on Peacock, 12-4 Georgetown versus 14-3 St. John's. 8 p.m. on ESPNU, 13-3 Missouri goes to number 8, 15-1 Florida. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 9-6 Oklahoma State versus 10-5 BYU. 8 p.m. on the Mountain West Network, if you got it, 9-7 Wyoming versus 12-5 Boise State. 8 p.m. on Peacock, 10-6 Ohio State versus 13-3 Wisconsin. 8 p.m. on the SEC Network, Arkansas versus LSU. Both of them are 11-5. Both of them looking to turn their season around after losing a couple games. 9:30 on FS1, 12-4 Iowa versus 10-6 USC. Iowa flying out there to California. See how that works out for them. 10 p.m. on ESPNU, 11-4 Central Florida versus 10-5 Arizona State. 10 p.m. on ESPN, 11-4 Baylor versus 10-5 Arizona. And then 10 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, 10-6 Colorado State versus 10-4 San Diego State. See what I said? You're going to need a lot of screens and maybe even calling sick the next day. Who knows? A lot of good games there. Wednesday, 5 p.m. SEC Network, 10-6 South Carolina versus 13-3 Vanderbilt. 5:30 on ESPN News, 11-5 Stanford versus 12-4 Wake Forest. 5:30 on ESPN Plus, 12-4 Davidson versus 9-7 LaSalle. 6 p.m. on ESPN2. Number 11, 2-3 Kansas versus number 3, 14-1 Iowa State. Should be pretty good. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, UAB versus South Florida. Both of them are 9-7. 6 p.m. ACC Network, 8-8 Cal versus 11-6 North Carolina. 6 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. 12-5 George Mason versus 11-5 Dayton. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 13-6 Purdue Fort Wayne versus 9-9 Wright State. 6:30 BTN. Number 12-4 Penn State versus number 16, 14-2 Michigan State. We just mentioned it a little while ago. 7 p.m. SEC Network. 14-2 Georgia versus 15-1 Tennessee. We're going to see what Georgia's made of. Right now, Tennessee's ranked number 1. I don't know if they voted yet, so we'll see what happens there. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. Number 21, 11-3 West Virginia versus number 12, 12-3 Houston. ESPN Plus, 7 p.m. Utah versus TCU. Both of them are 9-6. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. 10-7 Murray State versus 10-6 UIC. 8 p.m. ESPN Plus. 10-5 Cincinnati versus 9-5 Colorado. 8 p.m. ACC Network. 12-4 SMU versus 8-8 Virginia. 8 p.m. on ESPNU. 12-4 Pitt versus 11-5 Florida State. That might be a pretty good one there. 8 p.m. CBS Sports Network. 13-3 Rhode Island versus 10-6 Loyola Chicago. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 10-7 Illinois State versus 14-2 Drake. 8:30 on Big Ten Network. Number 20 Purdue, who's 13-4, travels to Seattle to play 10-7 Washington. 9 p.m. on the SEC Network. 11-5 Texas versus 13-3 Oklahoma, who is ranked number 17. I don't know if they call that one the Red River Rivalry, like the football game, but always a good game. 10 p.m. CBS Sports Network. Utah, 16-1, who is Utah State, who is 16-1 and ranked number 25, goes to play 9-7 UNLV. All right, Thursday, got a couple games of interest. 6 p.m. ESPN2. Number 19, 13-3 Memphis versus 10-6 Temple. 6 p.m. on FS1. Number 24, 13-3 Michigan versus 8-8 Minnesota. That is it. A lot of good basketball coming up this week. Very, very interesting to see how Georgia does Wednesday and next Saturday against Tennessee and Auburn. We'll know for sure, I think, if they're the real deal. Anyway, like I said, it's Monday. It sucks, but what are you going to do? Stay busy, work hard. Day will be over before you know it. We'll be back more than likely, maybe Thursday, but more than likely Friday morning to go over what's happened this past week and what's coming up this weekend. So anyway, work hard, stay busy. The week will go by fast, and we'll see you next time.